Let's shift our focus to Ghana now. The country is set to hold a crucial election on December 7th. It will decide whether the ruling party's candidate, Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia, will get a shot at the presidency or whether former President John Mahama will stage a comeback. But even as Ghanaians are yet to decide, government agencies are facing a shutdown next year, and that's if Parliament does not pass a provisional budget before the end of December. Well, CGTN's Nabil Ahmed Rufai tells us more.
Ghana's parliament has been embroiled in a controversy over which party is entitled to a majority vote. This comes after 3 MPs of the ruling National Patriotic Party decided to contest as independent candidates in the upcoming general elections. The opposition party, NDC, subsequently declared itself as the majority. That act forced the MPP to seek action at the Supreme Court and obtained a ruling in their favor as still holding the majority votes in Parliament.
Dialogue was the only thing that would have gotten us out of this. No other. At the beginning of the crisis, I had called for the President, the Chief Justice and the Speaker to sit down. That's the 3 arms of our government, to sit down and try to find a way out of this. But at that time, I think many thought that this was going to be something that can resolve itself.
Ghana's parliament has been on recess for more than a month. Lawmakers took a break to focus on their campaigning ahead of the general elections. MPs of the ruling party have appealed to the Speaker of Parliament to recall the House to allow for the continuation of government's business, but the Speaker has declined the request. There are concerns that Ghana faces a shutdown if lawmakers do not reconvene to approve a crucial expenditure budget and other loan deals before the next president is elected and sworn into office. Funding for government operations and development projects could come to a halt.
This parliament expires on January 6, midnight, 2025. So until then, Parliament can still hold court and pass the appropriation, which many believe, and I think I share that, is the most important business that is left. As for loans and so on, perhaps those can wait, especially because now we don't know who is going to form the next government.
For now, it is not clear when lawmakers will reconvene in Parliament as they ramp up campaigning ahead of Saturday's polls. But analysts believe the Speaker will make a decision after the outcome of the elections is announced. Nabil Ahmed Rufai, CGTN, Accra, Ghana.
Let's find out more about what's happening on the ground. We're now joined by Professor Lord Mensah. He is a financial economist and also the director at the Center for Investment Advisory and Sustainable Finance. Great to have you with us on the show today, Professor. And let us start off with some more insight into what is causing that current impasse in Parliament that, of course, could cause this government shutdown.
Yeah, good evening to our viewers. I will go straight to say that it all boils down to the near balance, parliament that we have. And coming into the 2020-2024, I was expecting that at least the balanced parliament that we have is going to help the nation, because there's going to be scrutiny, there's going to be monitoring, there's going to be, more or less effective way of going about things. But that is not what we see. I think our parliamentarians have been exposed one way or the other, in a sense that as parliamentarian, apart from, passing laws, your job, is sitting on the edge as far as the country is concerned at any point in time. So there are times that you may have to throw away your political colors and think about the nation. And that is where you bring in your negotiation skills. And that is the point where I think, the current parliament that we have has failed. Because, once you have a near balanced parliament, it's expected that you sharpen your negotiation skills. Because there's no way, every time you can easily get your bills through, as expected. So if, you don't get your bills through, then leadership must sit down and then negotiate as to when to come to a convergent point. But we don't really see that, and that has brought about the stalemates that we are seeing as far as our parliament is concerned.
And when you say, Professor, you don't really see that, how critical is the situation? Is there any sign of hope that there'll be a solution, especially before Ghana heads towards that government shutdown and, of course, election?
Yes, of course, it has to do with ego management. I mean, that's why I said, at this point, we have to think about Ghana, not just politics, because Ghana's democracy has been in such a way that every single approval when it comes to government spending has to go through parliament. And so if you have a parliament that, as a result of misunderstanding, they are on break, then it becomes a problem because we are in November. With November is past, we are in December. By November, we should have had the finance minister reading budget, giving us, the possible allocations going into the 2025. But that is not what we've witnessed. So it will get to a point where it will become critical when it comes to appropriations.
And I want to get into the implications, of course. What are the implications of this shutdown on the economy? We know Ghana just completed a debt restructuring program, or rather came up with a debt restructuring plan. What implications will this have on its debt outlook, for example?
Well, it's going to be, critical implications that we may have to look at. Like I said earlier, once you have a parliament that, economic approvals needs to run through, the parliamentary system, then obviously paying even a debt, right, raising money to pay debt will be, a problem. And looking at the economic situation we find ourselves in now, things are a bit fragile, let me put it that way. So delay in paying of debt and all those as a result of this, parliament misunderstanding can cost the economy because the investor confidence after the debt restructuring is still down and we are now building up gradually. So if it turns up that, as a result of this, parliament break and misunderstanding, we are not able to, meet and then decide on which direction, how to even raise money to pay for principals that are maturing and all those, it will be a problem. And trust me, investor confidence will continue to go down in the country and it will prolong our, economic recess that we face.